Hello everyone, sorry for the delay with this update video. Over the weekend we actually had a bit of Fire Emblem Three Houses news drop, so let's go back and take a look. These new Fire Emblem Three Houses details are courtesy of Nintendo of Japan, and a big thank you to Serenes Forest for the translation of this information as well. Serenes Forest is an amazing Fire Emblem website with tons of news, info, and details about every game in the series. So if you're not aware of it, I just want to plug that here because they've been a great tool in this community for the longest time. This video isn't sponsored by them, I just love Serenes Forest. You can also check out their article on this news in the video description below. To start things off, we finally have the official cover art for Fire Emblem Three Houses, which features male and female Byleth standing in front of the Garreg-Mach Monastery, and also has the main noble lords Dimitri, Claude, and Edelgard up above. I like the saturated colors a lot, but as far as Fire Emblem covers go, it's a little weird. I mean, when you boil it down, most Fire Emblem covers are just art of the main characters with the backdrop, but this time the style just feels exceedingly different, and although I really do like the popping colors, I think this particular art style, coupled with the massively saturated vibrant colors, does kind of cheapen it a little. Next to Fire Emblem Echoes, Shadows of Valentia, this game seems a little less legit, and it should definitely be the other way around, I think. But those are just my personal thoughts. There's also some rather odd aspects of this cover that have been bothering some fans in the community. Firstly, why is Claude upside down? I get that that's probably how he fit best compositionally, but they could have just had him further back and peeking out from behind Dimitri and Edelgard, and taken up about the same space and area of the cover. This has already become a full-blown meme in the community, with even Fire Emblem Heroes artist Ippei Soeda illustrating his very own upside-down Claude. Secondly, why is his bow just ever so slightly off of the center of the box? A lot of fans also thought that they failed to line up the bow before and after the splash of light, considering the tip of the bow seems to be at a completely different angle, but this is because Claude's bow has little flares at the ends like a lot of fantasy bows, so it does actually make sense with the way that they have it. So I guess this is just how they made it work, but my god. They either could have went completely straight with the angle of the bow, or should have skewed it way more. This is just a weird middle ground, an uncanny valley of visual angles. Anyone with OCD is going to hate this cover once they notice this detail. It's just a little wonky. Like I said, for me, while I love the color scheme and there are some pretty cool things happening with the composition, I also feel like the style of this particular artist is a little odd for the game cover. Promotional art, sure. Artbook pages or inside the game case, absolutely. But this as the cover is just a little weird to me. Maybe it'll grow on me. There's definitely some things that I really do like about it, like the beautiful purple hues and the stark contrast of the three heroes here.
Three heroes.
And I'll probably get over the bow angle thing eventually, but it's gonna have to marinate for a little while. I'll reserve my ultimate judgment for later, but for now, I give it 3 Reinhardts out of 5. Serenes Forest actually caught a detail that I didn't initially notice about the game cover. The Byleths here are wielding that special spinal cord bone sword thing, and if we look at the hilt of the sword closely, we can see that there is an opening for what may be a crest or gem. So here on the cover they don't have it yet, but we've already seen an animation of what happens when a crest or stone is placed there. Could this mean that the crests need to be purified, or that this sword is powered by their dark energy that will enhance Byleth? That could be interesting. Considering the context from the first trailer, maybe this is a bad guy sword that Byleth manages to get their hands on. Or, once again, maybe we're just a bad or darkness-oriented good guy. So, within this Japanese special edition, alongside the game, there will also be a 128-page art book with a large number of illustrations and concept art. Pretty standard fare, although I think the Echoes art book was around 40 pages, so I'm glad to see them doing a much more lengthy art book, even if it is a little bit smaller physically. The art book will also contain details of all the students enrolled in the Three Houses, which is also a pretty standard thing that they tend to do. The Echoes art book included art of every single character as well. There will also be a 33-track sound selection CD, and we actually have some examples of some of the new music, which is awesome of them to have included with this news. Let's take a listen. First up here we have the main theme, which doesn't have a real title yet, or it's just a tentative title right now. We've also just received the English version of this track thanks to Nintendo of America and Europe mass tweeting it out on March 12th, and it sounds like this.
Reach for my hand, I'll soar away into the dawn. Oh, I wish I could stay here and cherish hearts in peaceful.
A Redditor named SageofAnys also took the time to try to decipher all of the lyrics, so you can check that out in the description if you're interested. There are some really curious little bits of lyrics in here though, that do seem to really fit with some of our speculation over the past 3 analysis videos that I've made on this channel. Moments like "knowing time betrays" seem to line up quite nicely to Edelgard's cryptic "I'll return someday" teacher line. Something here about bounds or bindings and breaking free seems like it could possibly be connected to Sothis if we were right about our previous speculation with her being bound or trapped. It could all just be generic fluff lyrics for the song and not be connected at all, and that wouldn't really surprise me, to be honest, but if they did make a conscious effort to drop in a lot of plot relevant lines here, I think that's really cool, and it gets me super excited to see how this story plays out. Fire Emblem games are not known to have amazing stories, but man, am I just really hopeful that we get a decent one this time around. I think there's a lot of potential with some of the cryptic stuff we've been shown so far, so I really hope that they can pull it off. This intro music reminds me of an old Naruto intro or something stylistically. Now, I don't mean that to be a bad thing. I have a huge soft spot for some of those old Naruto tracks. I just wanted to throw it out there that it kind of reminded me of that. I think more specifically, it reminds me of this one by Hearts Grow. It's definitely quite a bit more anime than the main themes we've gotten before, with Lost in Thoughts All Alone being the closest example to this style, so I did see some fans somewhat disappointed because of that, although it does fit with everything else being a bit more anime than usual. I'll be letting this one marinate too. We'll talk about it again in the future. I just hope that Fire Emblem won't become too Persona-like and too infused into anime, as I just don't think that it needs that in order to succeed. It'd be a shame if Fire Emblem pivoted and morphed in future iterations and just ended up being a tactical strategy RPG Persona ripoff, so stuff like this does have me a bit nervous, but I do honestly believe that this game, though it looks really different so far, is still going to be a Fire Emblem game at the end of the day, and I don't think that fans should be too worried about that. I just think that it doesn't need to go as anime as they're going with it. You know, while editing this video and hearing the track a bunch more times, I already really like it. Anime or not, it's quite good. Even the cover art is beginning to grow on me more, flaws and all. It just goes to show you that in some cases, especially with a game whose trailers were as jarringly unexpected and different as this one, sometimes all it takes is a little getting used to get yourself aboard the hype train. I take it back, these are both 4 Reinhardts out of 5. Next we've got the translated title for the second track here, which will probably end up being something like Fodlan's Dawning Wind. You might remember hearing this track in the recent second Three Houses trailer, but it's nice to finally be able to hear it more clearly. And after listening to it hundreds of times while scouring the trailer, I actually really like this one. The CD design is kind of similar to the CD in the American Special Edition, but this time it's purpley blue with the crest design, of course reminiscent of the mural-esque illustration we've talked about in many of my other analysis videos, so it's pretty clear that the crests really are going to be a huge aspect of Three Houses, especially if they're tied to the different recruitable students. Then of course there's the Steelbook with art by Kazuma Koda, whose art has been featured in Nier Automata as well as many other games, and in this we can see a rather eerie figure with their arms outspread in this cathedral backdrop, and even the description of this image remarks that the figure is eerie, yet instead of looking to be the quote-unquote bad guy looking guy that we saw in the trailer, once again with this headdress they appear to be wearing, it does seem like they could easily be the Divine Serenes or somebody from the church, so once again, another point for the church being evil. I also got some comments on the last analysis video from some of you guys, mentioning that you hope that the church doesn't actually end up being evil, and that they have a much better twist planned out for it, and I can't help but to agree. If the main twist here is that the church is actually evil, it's likely going to be quite lame. I think that they've ruined any chance of this plot point shocking anyone due to the massive amount of hints that we've gotten towards that particular outcome from details like this, so yeah, I hope that they do something cool with this too and don't go too generic. Koda also designed the special edition box, which I find to be quite gorgeous actually. There's a part of me that almost wishes that this was the box art, or some other rendition of this with the characters facing in our direction. It reminds me of the Blazing Blade box art with the 3 heroes in various poses and a nice background environment, Once again, of course, Garreg Monastery is featured heavily here in the background, so with all of the promotional stuff pointing towards Garreg as well, it's clear that this monastery is going to be a huge part of the game. I am still hoping, personally, that it does take a little bit of a backseat role, at least later on, because I just don't really get the whole, you know, taking your students out to the battlefield, killing people, and then going back to school thing, you know? It's just weird. That's it for this one. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you'll continue to look forward to more coverage of Fire Emblem Three Houses in the coming days in the lead up to the game. If you like this video, do me a solid and slash the thumbs up, and get subscribed if you haven't yet, so that next time we've got news like this, it'll go straight to your homepage. And you can also follow us on Twitter for news and updates a bit quicker as stuff comes out. We've also got a Discord for you cool folks that want to get even more involved in this community. And lastly, but not leastly, thank you to all of the amazing patrons of this channel that help to make videos like this possible. I'm going to be updating the Patreon a bit in the near future, but thank you so much to the new patrons that we've received recently. Love you guys. Thank you so much for your support. And with that, I'll see you all in the next episode.